Hi folks, and welcome to this introductory course on applying ethical thought to journalism. During this presentation, we'll define ethics and briefly discuss why ethical reasoning is so important to journalists. We'll then lay a foundation for the rest of the course by outlining 5 central ethical principles. Ethics itself is a somewhat broad term that describes a system of determining what is considered right or wrong. Ethical reasoning is not as personal or rigid as morals, and is more concerned with whether an action can be deemed fair or beneficial to wider society. As its name indicates, it focuses more on why an action can be deemed wrong or right, rather than what a wrong or right action is. In the context of this course, ethical reasoning can be applied to specific professions by taking into account the goals, values, and challenges of these professions. Professional ethics and personal morals sometimes conflict with each other. You've no doubt encountered situations as a journalist that required you to disregard your own beliefs and values in order to write or pursue a story. You might find yourself uncomfortable with the subject of a story, for example, or the angle you've been asked to follow, or the means of acquiring information from a source. You might find yourself questioning the value of the story to society. Now, by the end of this presentation, you should be more aware of the distinction between your personal morals and professional ethics, and you should be a bit more comfortable with that distinction. Finally, and most importantly, an ethical decision in any given situation is informed by an established philosophy, an established ethical principle that best pertains to the situation at hand. You might be wondering now why ethical reasoning is necessary when so many existing conventions seem to make it redundant. For example, every country has laws, and every media house has rules that govern how a journalist performs her or his duties. We can be guided by the numerous precedents that have been set over the colorful history of this profession, even here within our own region. And at the end of the day, can't we simply trust our instincts or be guided by our conscience? The answer is that ethical quandaries, especially those you regularly face as a journalist, have a way of rendering all those approaches inadequate or inappropriate. Sometimes making the best decision requires deeper consideration. Now let's do a short, simple exercise and put our ethical decision-making skills to the test. Open a text document or pull out your notepad and jot down your responses to the following situations. We'll compare notes later on in the forum. No one in this illustration seems very happy about this situation. As you can see, a trolley is hurtling down a track on a collision course with 5 bound people. You stand near a switch that can divert the trolley onto another route where, unfortunately, one man lies tied up and helpless on the tracks as well. Your only options at this point are to hit the switch, causing one person's death, but saving 5 lives, or to do nothing, which will result in 5 deaths, but leave the single captive alive. Again, these are your only options at this point. So, what would you do? Now let's add one more option. If you throw the switch repeatedly, you'll be able to derail the trolley and send it crashing down the middle of the tracks. The crash will seriously injure and maim all 6 captives, but it won't kill anyone. Would you take that option? Here's a slight shift in our dilemma that requires a more direct solution. It's a similar setup, but your participation level will be heightened. Your only options this time are to do nothing and let 5 people die, or to push this rather large fellow off the bridge. The ensuing collision will surely stop the trolley and save the 5 people, but it will also kill the large man. Would you push him? As before, I'll add another condition. The man atop the bridge is a 70-year-old, wealthy, foreign businessman. Does that in any way change your decision to push him or not push him? Finally, I'll give you one more option. You can risk your own life to run onto the tracks and untie the captives. Would you do that if given the chance? That exercise is known in ethical studies as the trolley problem, and the decisions were all meant to be difficult. There's just enough of a negative consequence to each option to make you doubt whether you've done the right thing. It should be a sensation you're used to as a journalist. Now here's the thing. By responding to those decisions, you've just applied all 5 of the major ethical principles we'll be discussing during this course. In the second part of this presentation, we'll outline each of those principles and the role they play in ethical decision making.